Alright, so guys, let's begin. So we'll start with our today's lecture. We are going to look at methods in detailed manner. We'll understand what methods are, right? How to create a method and various other things about methods. I will be covering that. So firstly, when you're learning methods, what is important is all of you should understand some of the important keywords which we will be using to create method. The first one is void. So what is the meaning of void? Let us start our discussion with this now. See, when I say void, it means it will not return anything. Like Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi, their transaction has been void, meaning they took the loans from the bank and it was not returned back. Then forcefully they had to recover the money. That's the meaning of what? Void. So when I say void it means it will never return any value. And when I use void on a method, that method is incapable of returning value. Let's see this here with an example that will give you more clarity. So I will just create a method here, and the method that I'm going to create now is like this: public void and test. Now because this word void is added, if I now apply return some value, you see there is an error. Is there an error or not? There is an error here. I'm unable to return any value. Okay. I'm now basically what? We are able to what? Return any value. Right? So once you notice here now, if you're not able to return any value, that's all because the method is void. Then how do I return the value? So check what kind of value it is. It is integer value. Replace void with int. Is error gone? If you want to return a value, see the value that you are returning and change this accordingly. If I am returning a decimal value, then accordingly change this to, is the error gone? Can you observe the program? Is the error gone? Yes. Suppose I am returning a value in double quotes, which is string. Then the return type, if I make it void, what do you see here? Error. Because you're returning string, change this to what? What value are you returning? Depending on that, set the data type. But if your return type is void, the method cannot return anything. Is this part clear? If the return type is void, then the method cannot return any value. I hope this part is clear. Everyone, any questions, queries, do you have it? No. So now it is void. Delete this. Error is gone. Okay. So let's go back to our notes and let us see what exactly we get to learn here. Basically, methods in Java. So last lecture, there were some more concepts on reference variable pending. I'll come to that a bit later. Examples are pending here, starting from here. Right? Some examples are pending starting from here. I'll come to that later. But for now, we'll understand methods in Java. Fine. So if it is a void method, a method cannot return value. Can you look at this program and tell me why have I mentioned your error? The method is void and it cannot return any value. Did you understand now? Let's look at the next example now. Now I'll return 100. So what should I replace this with? Int. What kind of method is this? Static or non-static? Non-static. So how do I call this? You will create an object and call this a1 dot test. Now look at this whole program. How does this work? how do we analyze this program? Observe. The program execution begins with opening bracket of main. Okay, it begins with opening bracket of main. Always this is your first step and the starting step. Are you understanding? Whenever you analyze the Java code, your analysis should begin with the opening bracket of main. That's your step one. Step number two, an object is created. Step number three, you are now making a call to the test method. Are you understanding now? You're making a call to what? Test method. Once you make a call, the next line, step number 4, what will happen? This value 100 is returned back to the place from where it is called. Are you understanding? This 100 is given back to the place from where the method is called. Since the value 100 I am returning it back, I will now store that value further in some variable, which is a local variable, because I created inside a method. And now let me print this x. Did you understand? Understand the whole flow once again. This is the first time we are understanding the flow. Observe once again. Opening bracket of main, program execution will start. This is your step 1. Step number 2, object is created. I am creating this object so that in step number 3, I can make a call to the method. The method will return back the value 100. The method will return back the value 100, which is nothing but what? Step number 4. That value then I am storing it in what? X. What is the value present in X now? 100. Who is supplying this value? The test method. Then we are now printing X, which is step number 5. Step number 5, we are printing X. What will it print? 100. Can you tell me this is closing bracket of which method? Huh? Which method? Now listen carefully. Whenever the closing bracket of main method runs, step 6, when the closing bracket of main method runs, the whole Java program should stop. Did you understand? The whole Java program will come to an end when the closing bracket of main runs. Opening bracket of main, program starts, and closing bracket, program ends. That is for main method, not for test method. It is for, so program starts with main and program ends with main. That is the flow. Let's now look at here. Quickly, right? By running the program, is it printing 100? Make sense? Is the first example clear for all of you? Everyone got this point? Yes? Okay. Now let us take more examples now. I'm going to write here now SYSO, hello. Right? Now let us analyze this program line by line. Let's go here to MS Paint. Windows R, MS Paint. Paste this in here and see now. The program execution has to start with opening bracket of main. Step 1. Is this clear? All of you, yeah? Step number 2, we are creating object so that at step number 3, I can call test method. Step number 4, what is it printing now? It's printing hello. This is our first output. Step number 5, it is returning back 100, and that 100 I'm storing it in X. Did you understand now? Step number 6, the second output I got now, what is that? Correct? After step 6, what do you see? Closing bracket of What will you do when you see closing bracket of main? Are you understanding now? So what is the output of the program I should see here? Very good. Analyze. Everybody analyze. Shall we proceed further? Okay. Now let's move ahead further. Now we are going to take more examples and we'll try to make the program slightly bigger and we'll slowly understand the flow of the program. But keep one thing in mind, always keep the starting and ending point of the program fixed in your mind. Program starts with main, program ends with main. So whatever flow you are taking, you have to come back to the closing bracket of main and stop. How big the program is, it doesn't matter, right? Example, I will now do one thing. Instead of hello, I will now add here another method, public void and test. This is test 1. Let us make it test 2. Now tell me one thing. Will this method return any value? No. Let me write here from test 2. And this method I will call from test 1. A1 is equal to new A. Now the variable names are same. It's okay. They're local variables. I've created A1 in main. I've created A1 in test. They are local. Variable names can be same. But if you are finding it confusing as a beginner, you can change that to A2. Let's analyze the flow now. Let's understand the flow of the program now. Okay. So program will always start with opening bracket of main method. Step number 2, I'm creating an object so that in step 3, I can call the test method. Okay, I can call test method. Got it now? Now step number 4, I'm again creating an object. 1 minute. Okay, now the complete program is visible. Okay, observe here now. Program starts with opening bracket of main. Step number 1. Yeah. Step number 2, I'm creating an object so that at step 3, I can call this method. Till here clear? Everyone? Any doubts? Do you have? Any doubts do you have? Any doubts do you have? Slowly I'm going. Slow learners. It might take time to understand. Now what is the next step? The next step that I'm going to do here is again create an object. But why am I creating? So that at step 5 I can call this method. Everybody got this? We cannot stop the program here because the starting and ending point is clear. Starts with main, ends with main. Correct? It cannot stop here. So step number 6, we got our first output. What is that? From test 2. Correct? After this you see a closing bracket. After step 6, step 7 you see a closing bracket. Yes? When the closing bracket runs, you just go back to the place from where it is called. When the closing bracket of test 2 runs, you go back to the place from where test 2 is called. And once you go back, you stop at the next line. Go back to the place from where it is called and stop at next line. What is next line? 8. Did you understand now? You go back to the place from where it is called when you see the closing bracket of a method other than main. Any method other than main, how closing bracket works? If main method closing bracket runs, main method will stop. Program will only stop. If closing bracket of any other method runs, then you go back to the place from where it is called and stop at next line. What is the next line here? Return 100. Now what this will do? It will take 100, give it to the place from where it is called, and it will store that into variable X. Step number 9. What are we printing? 100. We got our second output. Step number 10. This is closing bracket of what? So what will happen? What is the output? Did you understand? Let's run this and see. Yeah? Now you analyze the same flow again. You do it in your mind. Okay? Try to flow, create that flow in your mind. Able to create the flow? Yes. Everyone. Everyone got this? Let us now proceed further. We'll try to now create some other flows, and we will understand the code in a much better way. Okay, so we will now look at public void test1, and then we are going to put here public void test2. Okay, then let us print here 1, let's print here 2. Now I'll write a1 is equal to new a1 dot test1, a1 dot test2. Create the flow by yourself, then I will do it. Okay, you try to start with main method, try to analyze that in your mind, the flow of the code. Dhruv, try to do that. I'll ask the people now. Okay, I'll ask you guys the flow. Let us see. People are still analyzing. Stay focused and analyze. You have to fully concentrate, fully focused. Only one thought right now is how this program works. Okay, no other unwanted thoughts in your mind. Is this clear? Analyze the flow. Let's see that. Guys, observe how many people did this right. Let's see this here. Now always program has to start with main method. Okay, I'm creating an object at step 2, so that step 3 I can call this method. Step number 4, we are now going to print 1. This is the first output of my program now. Now there's a closing bracket of test method. When you see a closing bracket of any other method and not main, any other method closing bracket, go back to the place from where it is called and stop at next line. Now step number 6, again you're calling test2. Correct? And then step number 7, you're printing again a closing bracket of a method which is not main, meaning go back to the place from where it is called and stop at next line. This closing bracket of what? So here the program stops. So let us see the output of the program. What do we get here? Did you understand? Any projects, any code, when you get, you should be in a position to analyze the flow of it. But of course, we will not analyze manually. Same thing we will do it using debugging, which we will learn in our later classes. That how do I debug a code? And without debugging, you cannot survive in the company. Are you understanding? Because whenever there is a problem in the software, the first thing thousands and thousands of lines of code would have been written down. I cannot analyze like this manually. Right now there are 14 lines. I am able to do that. But when you open up the company's project, thousands and thousands of lines, hundreds and hundreds of methods, hundreds of classes, right? You have to now analyze that in slow motion, line by line. And when you learn that, then any project code understanding will become little easier. So what happens in company when you join? They give you KT, knowledge transfer. They'll not again give you technical tree. Whatever the technical part is, you have to be prepared now. KT means a senior resource will explain the project flow. He will explain you what this project is all about. Okay, for which business are we developing this project? It can be flight reservation, it can be anything. And this project he will explain you in high level manner. These are the modules, these are the things, right? And then after is what you will start using your IDEs effectively with debugging, where just looking at the URL you should be in a position to find out which class, which method is it making a call to, right? And you will also have lot of tools to evaluate an expression in debugging. You'll have a lot of shortcuts, right? You can see the hierarchy structure, lot of things which we will see eventually later. When a problem occurs, firstly in that thousands and thousands of lines of code, where is a problem? You have to locate that. Locating problem only you're not able to do, then how will you fix the problem? Correct? So these all things we will have to be ready with. Slowly further in my lectures I will definitely cover this, whatever I'm talking about. Is this clear? Okay. Now let us now proceed further. Okay. Now what I'll do is, let's do one thing. Let us go ahead and understand few more things now about methods. That is, what is the difference between return and return value? We just saw void. Now what is the meaning of void? Void methods can never return any. Okay, void methods cannot return any value. Are you understanding? Void methods cannot return any value. Void methods cannot return any value. Right? Is this clear? Now the next thing. Now understand what is the difference between return and return value. If I just use return and if I use return value, what is the difference between these two things? Okay, return versus return value. Now whenever you're using return, only return method has to be void, and it is optional to use. It's not mandatory. I'm not writing return keyword. Still you notice there is no error in my program. There is no error in my program. Is there any error? Do you see any error in the ID? Now I will write here return. Do you see any error? It is optional. You write it, you don't write it in void method, okay? But if you're writing return, what does this mean? If you're not writing return, line number 10, I'll go back to the place I'm calling from. That's what I'm doing. But after writing return keyword, what happens is this. Observe the flow. Program starts with opening bracket of main. Step 1. Now step number 2, I'm creating object so that at step 3, I can call this method. Step number 4, I'm printing what? 100. Is this clear? Step number 4, I'm returning what? I'm printing what? 100. Now notice step number 5, there is return. If it was not there, I would take this closing bracket and go back. But since there is a return keyword now, from here itself you will go back to the method calling statement. Return will just return the flow back to method calling statement, and then you stop at next line. What is next line? Closing bracket of what? Did you understand? Everyone, see the flow? And if you don't write return, suppose I don't write this, then the flow will not go back from here. This will become line number 5. The control from here will go back and stop at next line. Did you understand? Right? But if you're writing return keyword, then don't consider closing bracket. From here, go back to the place from where it is called. Did you understand? Everyone, are you clear? Not clear? So, if you're using return keyword, method has to be void. If it is not void, what do you see? What do you see? Error. But if I make it void, main method is also void. So can I type return? Yes. Can I type return? Now program will stop at this line, not the closing bracket. So program starts here and program ends here. Did you understand? Void means you can write return, that is optional. Did you get this now? Okay. Online students, all clear? Now, let's continue further. Now, suppose some students try to write anything after return keyword like this, then it's obvious it will give an error, unreachable code error. Why? Because, sir, that code will never execute. That code will never run. You're calling the test method, you're printing 100, and you're just going back from here, which means this line will never run. This line will never, and that's called as unreachable code error. And that's called as unreachable code error. That's called as unreachable code error. Did you understand? What is it called as? So if you write anything after return keyword that will not work, that code will never execute, and we get an error which you can see here. It is unreachable code error. Did you understand this now? Everyone got it till here? Yes. Then what is return value? If your method is not a void, if your method is not a void, then this method should have return value keyword. You see there is an error. And until and unless you don't return some value, until and unless you return some value, the error will not be gone. Now that I'm returning 500, there's a return value keyword, method is not a void, take that value, store that in some variable and print it. So if you're returning a value, then the method should be not a void. If it is not a void method, returning value becomes mandatory. Am I returning value here? What do you see here? Error. And if you write anything after return keyword, again, that will not run. What error is this? We'll talk about public, protected, private, default access specifiers after learning inheritance. You cannot understand that now. All concepts are interlinked. You should know packages, you should know inheritance, then only access specifier concept will become easy. Otherwise, you cannot learn now. Ignore that. Right now, my focus is only on. Are you understanding? Okay. So let us quickly see our notes now. What we have here. Firstly, methods in Java. Let's start here. Void keyword. Read it loudly. Y error. Now, what is the output of this program? Analyze the flow. Analyze the flow. I just don't want the output. Analyze the flow. Able to do? Next. This particular method, this particular program, is it correct? If yes, then tell me the output with the flow. Analyze the flow. Able to analyze the flow? Yes, continue next program. Can you read the difference between return keyword versus return value? Can you read what is return keyword? Loudly. Yes. Can you analyze the flow? Able to analyze? Now, read this line. We covered this. Analyze why there is an error. Able to understand now? Slowly? Yes? Next. Return value. Can you read this? Stay focused. Put pressure on your mind to stay focused. When your mind runs here and there, that's where you're not able to understand the things. If your mind is focused, then you will understand things and will put in your mind. Got it? No thinking here and there. Observe. Next. Why error? Can you tell me? What is missing here? Return value keyword is missing. Error because? Why error? After return keyword, we are writing the code. Did you understand now? Okay, practice this much. Everyone, is this clear? See you again tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll continue with methods further. Then we'll look at heap and stack memory. Is this clear? Bye guys, take care.